but I am so much more secure in how I am as a doctor, how I practice, how I run my business, who I am as a person, that I'll welcome feedback. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Merry Christmas to all, and all a good night. Let's have a great last few podcasts to end 2024. Make 2025 the best possible year we've ever had. We're talking about my reflections on the past year, some wins, some losses, what I've learned. Closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast, Christmas edition. Here we go. My friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for a great 2024. As I record this, it is Christmas Day. I am sitting in my home in the dark. We lost power right after everyone left and the party was over, so thankfully we had a good time there, but we will not have video for this episode. I don't think that's a horrible thing because I haven't shaved in the past 2 days. So here we are. But that being said, it's been a really good year. It's always good to sit back, be able to reflect, and see what you think you've accomplished. And that's kind of what I'm going to do this episode. We're going to go through some wins, some losses, some things I've observed. First and foremost, I learned this when I was trying to get the new office. Nobody is going to care about your business as much as you do. I was able to get a broker. And although he did help me with the negotiation, I felt that he was really slow, didn't have a sense of urgency. And when I was working with the initial spot that I was trying to negotiate with, it's just like buying a house. You think you put a bid in a house and you're going to get it. Well, I put some offers into the spot. I thought I'd be a shoo-in. I mean, my business is profitable, we're established, we're credible, and they went with a different bid twice on two different spots that they had. And one was a family practice office, one was a ENT. So both legitimate businesses, and they might have had better terms of what they were getting than what I wanted to offer, but no one cares about your business as much as you do. I think that's great perspective for you to have, because at the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself. You have to make the right moves, right decisions, do what's best for you. That comes from staffing, hiring, the direction of your business. Make sure you're taking care of yourself and you're living and living the life and working in the environment that you want. Because if you're trying to satisfy other people, they're never going to be happy and they don't really care. All right? Cool thing, a win. I went from 1,600 square feet to 3,500 square feet. We added an associate doctor, and my thought was I was going to down schedule a little bit to 3 days a week and beef up the other doctor. So I would see less patients, but we'd win overall because the other doctor would be there and they'd see patients. Well, what I found out was, good and bad. Good, my patients really do like me. They would wait, 2 to 3 weeks to see me rather than schedule with a new doctor. And that made things a little precarious initially because the new doctor was going to work on production. I saw that from the get-go, and I have so much faith and belief in what we're doing. I made sure I nipped that in the bud before it became an issue. Said, hey, I'm fine putting you on salary. Let me just carry all the risk. And that was fine. And that's what I did. But to be more efficient, I am seeing the same number of patients within 2. I think I have 74 comprehensives in 3.5 days when I used to have 77 comprehensives in 4.5 days. So I am that much more efficient. I can do that because on Mondays I work by myself and I'm staffed for 2 doctors. And I don't work Thursday afternoons or Fridays. Another thing that I took from that was, if I'm going to see these patients and work I work like crazy on Monday. One of my best Mondays this before Christmas break, I saw 28 patients, and I think 25 of those were refractions. Really cool. But let's make this work for me. I don't think I want to just not see patients at all. So I'll see my patients, but I get out at 3:30. My last patients then. So I can go home, enjoy my family. I'm getting a win because I'm getting out earlier. I get to still work, but I get less time in the office. It's awesome in that sense. On Thursdays, my last patient I believe is at 1:30. So then I have time to work in the office and I don't see patients on Friday. I think that is probably exactly where I want to be at this stage in my career. Eventually, within the next year, I do want to probably stop seeing patients on Thursdays for primary care. I'll make that my dry eye day, specialize a little more. But this is the beauty of private practice. I think this is a huge win. I am able to adjust my schedule to accommodate the lifestyle I want to live. And then I have an amazing associate who love her to death. She is amazing, great doctor, the most adaptable person I've ever worked with, a doctor I've ever been around. And she's getting better. She's starting to build a practice. We're marketing like crazy. In a year, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I love where we're going. The dry eye clinic's taking off. That's a huge win. Take this as a win. Reviews. Last year, with the chaos of change, the office manager, I think it was a year and a half maybe, but she retired, and I had 2 new managers. And I kept saying we need to do reviews, get the staff to give us reviews of our work, and they need to review me, and we never got around to it. Now, that was probably easier, but your staff needs a voice. And I had the direct reports review the manager. I had the managers review me, and then we're going to give reviews to everyone else. And although a little uncomfortable at a certain aspect of it, it's great. Your staff needs a voice. They need to know that they're heard, and you'd be surprised. I have one-on-ones with my managers every single week. I have one-on-ones with my associate every single week. And things got put in the review that weren't said. That's great. I just want open, transparent communication. Let them be heard. There's always things that we can take and get better with. I think that's one of the things that I've grown a ton this past year is I want feedback. I want to know how I'm doing. And sometimes I'll disagree, and that's totally fine. But I am so much more secure in how I am as a doctor, how I practice, how I run my business, who I am as a person, that I'll welcome feedback. So that's been cool to see. That's growth. Loss. One of my biggest losses of the year. We had like half the staff quit 3 months before we started moved to the new location, add a new doctor. That was incredibly difficult in order to grow. Now, I didn't downschedule at all. I got the most out of my staff, the most out of the office, and I honestly saw what we can do even at not full capacity. We still did great numbers-wise. The patients, for the most part, I think were good. We lost money because our opticians were just, the ones we had that we had to get rid of weren't great. And then the ones that we did have were so overworked that they weren't giving their best effort. The patients were kind of going through the motions, but we're still profitable, still doing work. Great perspective for me to have as we continue to move forward. Now, we're addressing that. We're getting better. But one of the main things I saw was answering phones were an issue. So I hired from 1 VA to 4. And the VAs were in charge of answering phones. And I tried my hardest to make that situation work. Make it as the primary source of answering calls. And it was fine, but we were losing a connection to our patients. And there were a few patients that just, the communication wasn't there. The VAs thought they were communicating well when I talked to the patients. They had no clue. And if you ever call and you feel like you're going to a call center, just take stock in how you feel. And I know that I when I call a call center, I don't care how efficient they are. I'm like, I'm not even talking to someone at the office. It changed my perspective, and that's a big difference, a big adjustment in our culture. Now, I think I'm going to revisit that in the future as I add more offices. It just makes sense to have a centralized call center. I don't know if the VAs are going to be the way to do it. I might have to do that with local people, right? But I do like the idea of the internet-based phones that we have and the ability to answer a phone anywhere, whether it's from a home or in the Philippines. We have that capability. So I went from 1 to 4, wasn't the greatest customer service, and I had to tone back down to 2. Now, I am making the most out of those 2 VAs that I have. The other 2 were really great on all day-to-day operations, back-end stuff, ordering. They take a lot of back-end stuff off my staff in the office, but phones, we weren't there, and I don't have the managers right now to develop that. The managers right now that I have, they need to be developed to develop the office staff that we have in office. To get them to develop the actual call center, we aren't there yet. I'm not abandoning it completely. I'm just putting a pause on that, but I'll chalk that up as a loss. That wasn't our best moment, but I took a shot. I tried to be better, and I like that aspect of it, and I learned. Every time I take a chance and try something new, I'm learning. I'm getting better. I know what I'll do next time, and in the same vein, we're better for it, right? So I love taking chances and trying to be better. So that's take a loss and make it a win. Hiring, I'll take that as a huge loss. That is the biggest loss of the year. We are still looking for a staff member, and we've been looking hard for 6 months. I did try build my team. I used them for about a year. I will never use them again. Their process is questionable at best. Their filtering, questionable at best. And I don't think they have a good idea of what we are looking for, what our culture is. They do something very broad, but I don't think it's specific to an office. Not saying I won't reach out to someone else like a headhunter or anything like that, but man, it is slim pickings right now. And getting a staff member to come in and stay. We've had 2 or 3 that have worked for us for less than a month. Probably 4 that worked for us less than a month. We had 2 that worked for us less than 2 days. Got in there and it was just too much for them. And I don't understand that. I don't know what the issue is, but hiring has not been the best. Now, granted, we upstaffed a ton. We are a busy practice, but it's getting better. The staff that I do have, we are developing. I'll take this as a slight win and a loss. The staff we have, the optical we've built back up. Our optical staff is really probably our strongest aspect of the office right now. The front desk staff is average. Very, very average. The techs, their workups to most doctors is inadequate. To me, it's more than I expect because I can do a lot with a little. But that's the entrepreneurial mindset that does not translate. An entrepreneur will see something, what's the lowest cost, the easiest way, and put it all on me. I found out really quickly when you hire an associate, they don't have that mentality and they have a standard that they're used to operating by, which is totally respectable. I understand that. So we had to up our game of our techs, and they're doing a lot more now. They still could be better. But at the same time, I'm trying to get them to answer the phone correctly, to schedule correctly. Like, we are struggling to schedule appropriately. And I don't know why it's so hard, but my staff is having a lot of issue with that. So we literally went to a full-blown template. It is listed. Every single time slot has an assigned exam type. They can go there. And it's gotten a little bit better. We had a couple meetings on it. We're pounding that into their brains, and hopefully it sticks. But that's something that I think we can get better at, our hiring and then making the staff better. Now, like I said, it's a win and a loss that I'm getting the most out of my staff. But I think the majority of the reason that we're doing that is because I have more time to work with them. So great that I have more time to work with them. Not great that I have to do it myself. My managers, funny, some of the feedback I got were, don't don't put it all on us. Well, you're the manager. I'm not putting it on you, but I'm telling you what I want, and you need to make your staff do that. We still have to get that understood. So that's a work in progress. I think it will get better. The one thing I do take away is in the office that I'm in, it's under one roof. I can manage it all. I don't know if it's good or bad that that's my mentality right now. It's probably bad. It's not going to help us grow or scale. But for the season I'm in, I'll take it because I'm having fun. One of the last things here, I might have a few things that come to my head, but a win is after my last P3 meeting in Nashville, I came back and I realized that there's no easy wins. To be the office that I want to be, to grow to the level that I think we're capable of, we need to just knuckle up and get 1% better every single day. And the way to do that is implementing systems. Thus, EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operation System, Traction, the book. We're implementing that. I've spent the past, 2-3 months doing the VTO. It's called the Vision Traction Organizer. Went through our core values. We're going to hire and fire based on this. Give promotions, that's what we do. So we have our core values. We've outlined those. We went over them with the staff. We found out why we exist. I think that was really cool to have a purpose bigger than a monetary goal, bigger than what your industry is. Why do you show up every day? And it's a reflection of what I enjoy doing and what I want the staff to be doing. We have our niche. So within our industry, how do we take our vision and make it applicable to what we do? So that's fun. From there, I set my 10-year target. That was really interesting to do because I've been saying 10 million in 10 years, and I want to do $10 million. That'd be really stinking cool. It's something to aspire to. But when I did the math, to get to $10 million is incredibly aggressive. And for the track that I'm on, I don't think we're making the moves. We're doing the things we need to get to that 10 million. Now, I think we're going to get to 5 in 10 years. I know it's cutting it in half, but when I look, what that entails, 2 big offices. Now the way that we can get to that 10 million, get over that 5, is after I start the second office. If I find the secret sauce, then I can scale. But right now, my biggest stumbling block is once I get that second office, I think I want to make that a 2 to 3 doctor office as what I have right now. And those 2 offices can be a lot of fun, very efficient, less overhead, because when I have 10 offices in my head, that's so many staff members, so many moving parts. I don't have the infrastructure. I don't have the team to make that happen. I myself would have to pull out the exam room completely. I'm not sure I want to do that to make that happen. Now, to be in the exam room 2 to 3 days a week and run the 2 offices, I think I can do that. So that's kind of where it's looking at what gives me joy, what makes me energized. And honestly, with 2 offices, there's a lot of fun can be had. I think we can have 3 doctors at my current office. I don't think they're 3 full-time, but I'm not working full-time. The other doctor's not working full-time. Bring in that 3rd doctor, and I think we have something to do there. So those are just some things that I've noticed over the past year. I'm very thankful that I'm continuing to grow. The new office is amazing because we are marketing like crazy. We're up like month over month, the last 2 months, 30 to 40% new patient percentage because we can handle that capacity. It's really awesome to be in a growth phase again. I look at what I've done the past 2 years previous to this, and I was stagnant. And we were doing awesome. We were growing in terms of getting more out of the patients that we had, but we weren't seeing more patients. Right now, we can get more out of those patients, and we can also grow. That's fun. There's no ceiling to where we can go right now. And that's a fun place for me to be in. I have juice energy. I have a great perspective of what I like doing. I like when I'm in the clinic, focusing on clinic, and I like when I'm outside of the clinic, focusing on that. Doing both is draining. Recognizing that has changed my mindset and how I approach each and every day. It took me 13 years to figure it out and see it, but without adding the new doctor and taking the time to actually be outside the exam room, I don't think I would have realized that. So that's awesome to see. Now to see what comes of it. That's what 2025 will entail. I hope you guys are energized. I hope you're pumped. I hope your offices are growing. We're not stopping. This podcast has been the greatest thing I've done to help me be more confident in speaking, confident in the direction that we're going. As my journal. I do this for myself more than I do it for you guys because I get so much out of it. Helps me align my thoughts. I actually gave a talk, about a 5-8 minute talk for Avanova, which was really fun. When I do my videos for YouTube, I am so much more comfortable being in front of an audience, speaking in public, because I do this on a weekly basis. So thank you for giving me the platform. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the feedback. Let's have an amazing 2025. And that's all I have. We'll have more for you next week. Where has time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and I will leave you with this. You cannot see your reflection in boiling water. Similarly, you cannot see the truth in a state of anger. When the water calms, clarity comes. Think about that, chew on it, and I know when I get feedback, when I get criticism, my default in the past has always been defensiveness, anger, denial. Like, screw that. What do they know? I am so much better at just having an open mind, taking feedback, but sitting on it. I don't make decisions as impulsively as I once did because I realize this, not those words I read, I'm like, oh, that's what I've been doing. But when you're emotional, it's really hard to see the truth. When you take time and you ask yourself, what about what they're saying is true? It may be nothing, it may be all of it, but usually it's a little bit here or there, or you see it from their perspective and you gain wisdom. You gain the ability to make the right decision that will make all sides win or give the best possible outcome. So don't be emotional. Take a step back and get clarity, my friends. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lily out.